DC 1911475, or we're not going on the record, we're going on YouTube. Falcon Insurance Company versus Moises Hernandez Guzman et al. Counsel, make your appearances.
Joshua Smentek on behalf of Falcon Insurance Company.
Aaron Campbell on behalf of defendant Elephant Insurance Company.
Okay, and there are a couple of pro se defendants who are not here. They've been notified of the hearing and they haven't decided to attend. So we're going to go ahead and go forward with the motion for summary judgment. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor, and good morning. Here today on plaintiff's motion for summary judgment. This lawsuit was filed on August 8th, 2019 and seeks declaratory relief from the court regarding the application of an automobile insurance policy to an accident that occurred on May 1st, 2018. The policy was issued on April 20th, policy was issued on April 20th, 2018, covering the vehicle owned by pro se defendants Maria Felicia Lorenzo Exekai and defendant Moises Hernandez Guzman. The pro se defendants sold the 2001 Chevy Impala that was covered by the policy on April 29th, 2018 to defendant Luis Alberto Guzman Orellano, who was then involved in an accident.
And remind me, do you have a copy of that title transfer?
Don't believe that there's a copy of the title transfer. There was a statements taken from both Maria Felicia Lorenzo Exekai and Moises Hernandez Guzman stating that they sold the vehicle for cash on April 29th, 2018.
And what day did the accident happen?
And then the accident happened on May 1st, so 2 days after the sale of the vehicle.
Okay. Is there a liability lawsuit on this?
There's an underlying lawsuit, Your Honor. Mm-hmm.
And whose case is that in?
And it's Manuel Serrano Jr. individually and Elephant Insurance Company as subrogate Manuel Serrano against Moises Hernandez Guzman, Maria Felicia Lorenzo Exekai, and Luis Alberto Guzman.
And whose court is that in?
I do not recall off the top of my head what the underlying court is in, Your Honor.
If I may, Your Honor, I believe it's in the 95th.
95th, okay. And which case was filed first?
I believe the underlying case was filed first, Your Honor, and then we filed.
All right, go ahead.
Under the policy, there's a clause for termination provision in relevant part that if someone other than you or a family member who's listed in the declarations becomes the owner, the coverage for that automobile will automatically terminate. As such, the sale of the vehicle on April 29th, 2018 triggered the termination provision, as that they sold the vehicle to someone who is not a family member, and therefore,
Is this a declaratory judgment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Therefore, triggering the policy termination provision and canceling the coverage on the 2001 Chevy Impala. Furthermore, there's also a provision under the policy for a limited driver's policy that only listed Maria Felicia Lorenzo Exekai and Moises Hernandez Guzman on the policy. And as the vehicle was being driven at the time of the accident, by Luis Alberto Guzman Orellano, who is not a listed individual on the declarations
But
page.
was that a member of the household or not?
No, who's not a member of the household.
So that
Really-
restriction would cover, right?
Right.
Okay. You have anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Response?
No response, Your Honor. Defendant Elephant Insurance is not opposed to the motion for summary judgment.
All right. I'm going to deny the summary judgment. I think there's a fact issue here because there's no title information. I'm also going to talk to, I'm not sure who's in charge of the 95th right now. If there's I don't think there's an assigned judge, but I'll talk to the judge there about whether or not this case should be transferred. And I'm going to take under advisement whether or not to award attorney's fees against the plaintiff in this case under the Declaratory Judgment Act. This really should be combined with the liability lawsuit. And I've seen this tactic before where there's an argument that the car was sold the day before the accident but there's no title information. So summary judgment's denied. And do you want me to set this for trial? What role does Elephant have in this anyway?
Yes, Your Honor. Elephant was the insurer for one of the other vehicles involved in the wreck. Elephant filed suit in the 95th as a subrogee of its insured driver against both the driver of the Falcon, what's allegedly the Falcon insurance vehicle, and the what's listed as the owner at the time on the police report. So against both Luis Alberto Guzman Orellano and Moises Hernandez Guzman. My firm was not involved with that lawsuit. My understanding is, looking at the pleadings in that, Elephant took a default judgment against Mr. Orellano, the driver, and dismissed the lawsuit without prejudice as to Mr. Hernandez Guzman, the previous owner or the owner of the vehicle. So as far as Elephant, I believe, is concerned, they're out of the case.
So I just want to make sure I understand it. So you took a default against the title owner, is that right?
No, Your Honor. Elephant took a default against the driver at the time.
The driver, okay.
We have not done the investigation into who was the title owner at the time. We were just going off of, I believe, what was on the police report as to who owned the vehicle.
Okay. Rhonda, go ahead and put this on I'm denying the summary judgment. Go ahead and put this on a 60-day DWOP, and we'll go from there. You guys have any, go ahead and get me an order denying the summary judgment.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
If we're able to find something on title, if they did file a title transfer or something like that, could we refile the motion?
You could, but if I find it, I find this, sir, I don't want to be hard on you, but incredibly suspicious. And if I find that you guys are suborning some kind of perjury, which kind of seems to be what's happening here, I may award attorney's fees against you and your firm for if I feel that's what's happening. But if you can find a file stamp version of the title transfer that was filed before this accident occurred, I would go ahead and go forward. But if you're going to get one that, I've just seen this too many times. This is just a tactic that I find incredibly suspicious, where the title is somehow transferred away from the insured on the day before the accident, but there's no record of it. But if you can find a file stamp version of the title transfer that was file stamped by the state Department of Motor Vehicles prior to the accident occurring, I would encourage you to bring that forward.
My understanding, there was the examination under oath under which both the vehicle owners had testified that they had sold the vehicle. on the 29th.
You have anything else, sir?
Nope, that is all, Your Honor.
Okay. And make sure you get me an order on that, okay? And
Yes,
Ron,
Your Honor.
get that we're gonna put this in a 60-day DWOP?
Yes, I got it.
All right, thank you. Okay, do we have Kimmel versus SND Operating LLC?
Carson Runge for the plaintiff, Walt Kimmel, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christina Pierre-Louis for defendant Griffin.
Is that everyone on this case?
No,
No,
Your
this is Brett Smith, Your Honor, on behalf of defendant RAE Systems.
And Emily Bryant on behalf of Weatherly.
Is that everyone?
There are other attorneys, Your Honor, for the S&D entities. A settlement was reached between Mr. Kimmel and the S&D entities. The settlement documents were just signed today, so I assume they're not participating today because they will no longer be part of this case.
Okay, great. So is this case set for trial tomorrow?
I believe that's right, Judge.
Okay. So, obviously we're not going to be able to have a jury trial. I want to kind of, I've been talking to everyone kind of in this situation. What do y'all want to do? Do we want to go ahead? We could do this as a bench trial. I could try it, or Judge Purdy could try it. Or we could do this as a 6-person jury and maybe get it set in, September. If we need to do a 12-person jury, it's going to be significantly more complicated because of the social distancing issues. We can't do the jury selection in my court, and it would be difficult to have the actual trial in my court. So have y'all talked about this?
Judge, there is the defendant Griffin has a motion for continuance on file with the February trial setting. I'm opposed not to a continuance, Your Honor, but to the February trial setting. It was my understanding in talks with counsel for Griffin that I agreed to a fall, or I think it was a December trial setting. That way, this is a significant case, Judge. My preference is certainly a 12-person panel. If we come to December and we can't agree to we can't have a 12-person, I'd be agreeable to a 6-person if COVID is still around and still as prevalent as it currently is. But really, I think, Your Honor, I think everybody's agreeable to a continuance. There is still more work to be done before this case is ready. It's just a matter of when we're set, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I would just like to highlight all the depositions that need to be done. In my motion for continuance, I outlined all the treating physicians that need to be taken, depositions of fact witnesses, depositions of corporate representatives, and then we have expert depositions. So I do agree that we did discuss a December 2020 trial date, Your Honor. However, all the defendants in this case are agreeable to a February 2021 trial date because of the significant discovery that still needs to be taken. We have been in contact with numerous deponents. We've already scheduled 2 deponents. One deponent, unfortunately, has passed away, one of the treating physicians. So we're going to have to depose somebody else from that hospital. Another deponent is having knee surgery on June 16th. He will be out of commission for 2 months, he told us. So we won't be able to depose him until mid to late September. So just because of the numerous depositions and discovery that needs to be taken, plus we'll need time for expert motions and summary judgment, we can be agreeable to December 2020's trial date, but we just feel it's more prudent to push this case into February of 2021. And
So
I did concur with, excuse me.
This case is over 2 years old. Why are there so many depositions that still need to be taken? Would we add additional parties, or?
Judge,
Yes, Your Honor, we did add Griffin added another third party. We've served discovery during, from the start of COVID until now. We've served discovery on numerous parties, at least all parties still in this case. 2 other parties have served discovery on us. So there's just a lot of discovery going on. My firm was not brought into this case until January. And we were ready to go. And then COVID happened and it really a halt on everything a bit. We had, trip to schedule to go visit our clients, and then COVID happened and everything came to a halt. But we are, ramping up and trying to get these scheduled as quickly as possible.
Your Honor, Carson Runge for the plaintiff. This case, I think we've taken 14, maybe 15 depositions in this case, Your Honor. Griffin was formerly represented by Rick DeLisi, and we had worked together. We had taken 15 depositions. This case was well on its way to be ready for this July or June trial setting. Mr. DeLisi, after one of the depositions, unfortunately had a medical emergency that I think was serious, Your Honor. And as a result, Griffin, through Nationwide Insurance, got new counsel. And since then, it's been very difficult for us to get anything scheduled. I think part of that is due to COVID. But I think what the court will see is in the next month or two, the court's going to have to rule on a lot of discovery issues that still are not resolved through the defendant Griffin. And so I do think a December trial setting is fitting. But whatever this court believes is best. If the court believes February is better, then I'm certainly okay with February. But there has been a lot of work done in this case, Your Honor. That I can assure the court that.
I mean, if it weren't for COVID, I would just say set it in December. None of us really know what's going to happen. If you really want a 12-person jury, it's just going to be challenging on these larger cases because our courtrooms, I don't know if you've been to the courtrooms in the annex of the George Allen, they're just not very big.
Yes, sure.
And so doing social distancing, if we did a trial, we'd probably have to have a 12-person jury in my court. We'd probably have to limit the number of people in the courtroom at any one time to maybe two per side. So an attorney and maybe a paralegal or associate or whatever. It's not ideal. It's difficult with the size of our courtrooms. Now, will it be, with the new year, is everything going to change? It's hard to predict, but I don't have a strong opinion either way if December, February is better. I think right now our docket in December, our docket every week in the fall and beyond, it's going to be tremendous because we've had 3 or 4 months now where we haven't been able to do jury trials. So there is no, there's no good solution here. It's just, how do we get through this? So
with the understanding of the courts, I assume that the court is backed up. And now that we're having this conversation, Judge, if it's safer to schedule it in February, then February is fine. I understand. I think all courts are facing the same situations.
Okay. I can't guarantee anything will happen in February, but there's a better shot at least. So do you have a week in February you prefer?
Your Honor, I did draft a proposed amended scheduling order for a date starting February 2nd of 2021.
Mr. Runge, does that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and email.
RE systems as well, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Is there other folks here that have an opinion on this?
I don't have any additional opinions. I just wanted to let the court know that February 2nd, that week is fine.
Ms. Bryant?
No, that works. That's fine.
All right. So go ahead and get us an agreed order. Rhonda, go ahead and have you guys mediated this case yet?
The plaintiffs mediated with, in Your Honor, they're S&D. I'm going to call them S&D, but there's about 5 different entities that fall under the S&D umbrella. We mediated with the S&D and Weatherly entities, which Ms. Bryan is here representing. Again, the direct action between the plaintiff and those defendants is settled and was mediated. We have not mediated against Griffin, who is represented here today.
Who is the original mediator?
The original mediator, I think when we came to this court, we had chosen Mark Gilbert, I believe, but given Mr. Gilbert's schedule, we mediated with Randy Aiken in Longview. We did it in Dallas, but he traveled he's from Longview. We did the mediation in Dallas. I'm fine with either Mark Gilbert or Randy Aiken mediating this case. Again, Randy Aiken probably be a best fit since he knows what's going on.
What do the rest of y'all think?
This is Brett Smith. On behalf of RAE, we are agreeable to Randy Aiken.
And Scott Hayes for Lasso Technologies. We're agreeable to Randy as well.
Your
Anyone
Honor,
else?
I would have to, we're agreeable as well to that mediator for Griffin.
All right. Rhonda, did you get that Randy Aiken? So go ahead. He's in Longview, Texas. So he's not one of our regular mediators, but we need to add him. And let's go ahead and do a new mediation order. You need to mediate again prior to trial. We'll go ahead and reset this. Go ahead and send me in a copy of the agreed scheduling order, and we'll just go ahead and reset the trial settings. So you guys be safe out there. Anything else we need to chat about?
Nothing from the plaintiff at this time, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Your
Judge.
Honor, thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you guys are excused. You be safe out there, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank
You
as
too.
well.
Thank you.
Elliott v. Jones, we have anyone here on that?
Yes,
Judge,
Your Honor, Robert.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, who's here for that case?
Your Honor, this is Robert Vengro, counsel for plaintiff Elizabeth Elliott.
John Moore for defendant.
All right. Do y'all need a record for this?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Moore?
No, Judge. And Judge, I'm going to be withdrawing my DWQs. I sent Mr. Vengro an email Friday, so I'm not sure if he got it. I'm going to be withdrawing. As soon as I get a letter showing that they've been withdrawn, I will send him a copy of the letter or the email to our service that's doing the DWQs.
And Your Honor, I did receive his email, but he did say that he was going to follow it up, sending me that letter confirming that he was pulling them. So that is why we did not cancel the hearing this morning, as I hadn't received that confirmation.
And I haven't got it, received it yet, Judge.
What do you want to do today?
If he wants to go ahead with the hearing, we can go ahead with the hearing, Judge.
I'm fine. I hadn't been able to speak to Mr. Moore since I received that email. If he's confirming he's going to pull it, then I think we should be okay with that. Unless you want to just grant the motion. Either way, I'm okay either way.
I'm okay either way too, Judge.
Mr. Moore, are you okay with me granting the motion without having a hearing, or do you want, or only to withdraw it?
I mean, it's Mr. Vengro's, motion, so I don't want to speak for him. I'm willing to withdraw it. As an officer of the court, I'm swearing to you, I'm going to withdraw it. As soon as I get confirmation they've been withdrawn, I will send him the confirmation that I have. If for some reason I receive the DWQs, I will not open them. I will send them to him, but I don't think we're going to receive them. We're not getting DWQs for 6 months now, so we're not going to receive them anytime soon.
Okay, great. Well, and this is on YouTube, so if there is some kind of dispute, you can, even though we're not on the record, you can always point back to this. So,
Sure.
All right, guys, you be safe out there, and good luck with everything. Okay,
Thank
Thanks,
you, Your
Judge.
Honor.
Thanks, Robert.
Maybe we be excused.
you may.
Thank you, sir.
Hey guys, how was your weekend?
Pretty good.
It was good. So I had I went from social distancing to a little less social distancing. I went to one of the protests, and it was very well attended. So hopefully I'll be okay. But it was a great. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It was very, very impactful and inspiring experience. So, guys, let me talk to you real quick. We have an interesting hearing. Rhonda and Tony, you don't need to stay on. Our next hearing's not, well, our next hearing's at 9:30, I think.
Pardon
So
me, you're still on YouTube.
Oh, oops, you're right.